Hi everyone, welcome to Cabin Talks. We are here today and we're joined with Conor. Now Conor is here to help us delve into all the questions, the most common questions such as how long it takes to build a cabin, the electrical work. So Conor, would you mind telling us a bit about the schedule and the preparation before buying a log cabin?
Sure, there's a lot to it, I suppose, but basically, once you find the cabin that you're interested in, and obviously you come down to our showrooms, we go through all the ins and outs, and anything you see can be adjusted.
Okay.
Change of windows, bigger rooms, all that. But once you have decided on what you want, we look for a €4,000 deposit, and then we put things into production. We give you a contract, we sign it, you sign it, and in 10 weeks we can have that on site. So before we get there, you need to have a concrete base built, and we'll give you specific dimensions on that base. That base is going to be a little bit smaller than the timber cabin itself, because the cabin it has to overhang. The biggest thing with making a cabin last is that we don't have water pooling underneath.
Right.
Really important. Once that's done, you're ready to go. We'll be there for, depending on the size of the cabin, probably 3 days to build the outside of the cabin, walls, roof.
Only 3 days.
3 days.
Wow.
All the work is done in the factory, really, so it's just a matter of putting the parts together. So we put the outside walls, ceiling boards, and doors and windows, and we go away then, and you have a week or 10 days to organize your plumber and electrician to do their first fix, pipes and wires. Once they're done, we can come back then, do all of the insulation, put in the floors, walls, roof cover, and then we're done. And that's another 3 days, 4 days, depending on the size of the cabin. So.
And going back to the 4,000 deposit, I am interested about this. So after the 4,000 deposit, what happens? You have to pay a full payment after that, or can you pay in installments?
Well, the first thing we should say is that a 4,000 deposit is not a big deposit compared to a lot of companies that look for 50%.
Right.
So we'd like to think we're generating a bit of trust there.
Yes.
But after that, then we arrive and there's 3 payments to be made. The remainder that's left, we look for a payment when we arrive on site, a payment after the first 3 days when we reach ridge height, and then a final payment when we're finished.
Okay, thanks for clearing that up. And also, in terms of the plumbing and electricity, I am a bit confused about that. So I buy my cabin, and what do I do? Do I know a plumber? Do I have to find a plumber?
Okay. Well, usually, if you don't have a plumber or electrician, we may be, depending on where you're located, we may have contacts there.
Right.
It's pretty straightforward. You need a builder, a plumber, and an electrician. And what the builder will do is put in the base, but we'll also put in a path probably up to the cabin. And underneath that path, often we'll bring in the conduits for the electricity, bring in the water supply, and bring out the grey water and the sewage to wherever it's going. So those groundworks are important. And then after that, your plumber, it's important to set the dates with your plumber and electrician to say that you have a window. And if you have 7 days, tell them you have 3 days.
Okay.
You know? So you've got to be here on the day. And they're very good, they understand. And the thing about a log cabin is, oftentimes if they haven't done one, they're interested, so they'll be keen. Or if they have done one, they know it's very straightforward. There's no chasing of walls for wires or anything like that. It's very open. It's a quick day. It's indoors, so there's no weather, which can be enticing as well, depending on the time of year. But the electrician and plumber, very straightforward.
Okay, so say for example, I have a big hill in my garden, a big lump of grass, and I just want to put a cabin there. But who do I go to first? Do I go to my builder and say, can you take this out? Or do I come to you and show you the land? What do I do?
Well, really, that's the builder's work.
That's the builder's work.
Usually, if you come to see us at any of our showrooms, bring a video. Bring a video up, do a 360 of the garden, show us where you're going.
Okay.
Anything can be done. You can dig into ground, or you can raise up ground, whatever, you have to think about where your septic tank is going and
Right.
fall. Even that can be overcome. But yeah, bring a video, and that's the simplest thing.
Okay, also I live up a mountain and the road, it's a bit small, the lane is a beaten track. Can you get up there?
You'll be amazed, and we always say if the cement truck can get up there, we can get up there. And I've seen sites, and you would think you wouldn't be able to push a pram up that hill.
Right.
And they'll get they get the concrete up there. And if the concrete can go in, you see our stuff comes. It's drop logs. So each plank, if you want to call them, or a log, is done individually. So we deliver on an Arctic with a forklift, and we take separate loads up. We don't have to go up with the Arctic, so that's not a problem. Even if there's a farmer with a trailer or whatever, but the lads will carry.
Okay, so you're well
a distance
used to
too.
this.
Yeah, it's not a problem.
Not a problem. Okay, love to hear that.
Yeah.
And also for young couples in Ireland, there's less and less homes available. There's less renting options available.
Sure.
So what would you recommend for a young couple starting out? They're looking to buy a cabin. What sort of cases have you worked with before?
Well, it's obviously happens an awful lot. It's a big part of our business. People are putting cabins in gardens, on farms, and that sort of thing. And what I always say is, obviously you need to have the cabin suitable for your use. So like with the Limerick cabin, for instance, the 2-bed, I often suggest that they put a meter onto the end to make the bedroom bigger. I just mentioned that because you can do that.
Yeah.
We have 1 beds, 2 beds, 3 beds. It depends on your budget and your needs. But what I would be really important is to think not just about solving the initial problem, because that cabin is going to be there for 60 years or longer. It can last 100 years.
Yeah.
So why not? When your son or daughter moves on, let's say, then you can Airbnb it, or you can rent it out on long term, which would be easier. So set it up so that it's separate, so that if somebody is renting, that they're not, in your kitchen window.
Yes.
If you can do that, then it's a great investment.
So you've seen people use it in terms of property investment, like Airbnbs.
Absolutely, yeah.
You've seen it used for that as well, so that's great. So another question that we get very frequently is, how long does a log cabin last?
Well, it's a good question, and a log cabin can last 100 years. We have a video on the website of Dermot Bannon saying that timber buildings can last 100 years.
Wow.
The important thing is that they're built well,
Yes.
built properly, and they're treated properly. So as I mentioned before, it has to be up off the ground, and there's no way that water can pool underneath. That's I've seen garden cabins and people putting them on patios. It's a disaster. So you've got to be raised up. After that, then it's got to be treated well. So we recommend Sikkens, which is Sikkens. It's really good. It's a stain, not a paint. You get all sorts of colors in it. It's not a problem, but it's a very well formulated product. You gotta apply it every 4 years or so, and once you do that, and once you make sure that there's no dirt banked up against your timber, that sort of thing, very straightforward stuff, your cabin's gonna last.
So my cabin doesn't have to look like a log cabin. I can actually paint it a colour, a block colour.
For sure, yeah. We have samples on the website, blues and greys and all sorts of different colours. Yeah.
Great.
They're all available, and some of them they all look great. It's down to taste. Then a lot of people like the natural pine or the oak colour, and other people want to go for something more striking.
So if I paint my cabin a block colour, do I need to repaint that every year to maintain the durability of the wood? Does it lessen the quality of the wood? What would you recommend?
It maintains the wood very well. It's every 4 years.
Every 4 years.
And what it does is, because it's a stain, it doesn't seal the outside, and that's important.
Okay.
So when rain falls on it, it stops the rain from soaking in. The rain runs down off it, which is important.
Okay.
But then also it lets the product breathe. Timber is a natural product. I mean, people worry about, will a timber building last? Well, they make boats out of timber, and they last. So let's not
pirates made it work.
Yeah, boats are made out of timber. They work. You know, if it's built properly and it's treated properly, it will last. And you just go to Europe. I saw a building in France and it was 500 years old. It's timber.
Wow.
You know?
So you're saying I can't just go into Woody's and pick up a tin of paint and start painting my cabin. What would happen if I painted it with a standard paint? Why do I have to use stick-ins?
Well, you can use paint. But we certainly don't recommend it, because what happens is that seals the wood, and wood needs to breathe. It's a natural product.
Yes.
People worry about, you know, the Irish climate. Well, one good thing about the Irish climate when it comes to timber is that it's windy and it dries.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's something that people don't, doesn't occur to people, but
the
wind
wood is
dries.
breathable.
Yeah, and as I say, you know, timber has been used as a building product for thousands of years and has worked. And it's just we're not that familiar with it in Ireland.
Yes.
But I know in Boyle, where I live, there's a timber building built in the 60s. It's the old golf club.
Wow,
clubhouse.
really?
Yeah, still there. You know, people live in it.
Cool.
Yeah, all there. So yeah, timber lasts, absolutely.
Brilliant.
And these are double walls in our residential cabins too, which is important. You know, if you're in a residential cabin, you have to have a double wall, unless when you go for the Scandinavian heavy log cabins, which are, you know, 6 or 8 inches. But with us, we have 45 mil on the outside, 30 mil on the inside, and you know, 4 inches or 100 mil of insulation at least. And then yeah, it's a perfectly good way of building a building that's going to last a lifetime.
And about the one bed cabin, because this is a cabin we get asked about a lot, is that considered a residential cabin, and would that have the double wall?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, if it's got a bedroom in it. Well, I mean, we can build it for you, single wall, but we would not recommend it. You really need the double wall if you're going to be sleeping in a cabin.
Okay, so
and living in it full time. Yeah.
So a garden cabin would just have the single wall structure, is that?
Yeah, the garden cabin is really, you know, for an office playroom, that sort of thing. You can sleep in a garden cabin for a couple of nights. In the winter, it's not going to hold the heat as well as a double wall. It's as simple as that. You know, it's still 45 mil of timber. So if you, and I know of a particular friend of mine, and he runs a therapy sessions in his single wall log cabin, and he lights a big fire, and the ambience of the timber walls and the fire and all that, it's very soothing.
Oh,
yeah.
So a stove or a literal fire?
Stove works really well in a log cabin.
So he
There's
has
something about the radiant heat from the stove and the timber, and it's very nice if you're looking to you know, for like a garden getaway, you know, TV, glass of wine, stove, you know.
So if you're a business owner and you want to have fly-ins in your cabin, you have the option of having a single wall, a double wall.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
The price range, what sort of difference?
Well, it's very hard to say, but you have to think about it. If you're putting in a double wall, you're putting in 2 walls instead of 1. You're putting in, well, we always have insulation in the roof and the floors, but the walls are bigger. So, I mean, if you're looking at a cabin that's 10,000, it's very hard to say.
Okay.
4,000 or 5,000 extra, depends on a lot of things.
So you'd recommend that they come with the idea and we can really customize it to their specific needs.
But we do find people working in cabins. There's no need for the double wall. We never really get complaints about it. Your heating bill will be higher if you have a single wall.
Yes. But with the stove, get that stove in there.
The stove is great. It's a great job, yeah. Everybody start falling asleep in the middle of the meeting. Yeah.
You gotta get down here and see it all for yourself, the quality and the craftsmanship. We are just saving time, saving you time, so come down and see it for yourself. Tullow, Cork and Boyle.